Hi all, this is Mike,
And this is Paxton.
and welcome to the Mad LiberTEA Party, where up is down, left is right, the rum is always gone, and the world is full of clowns.
Feel like the world's gone mad? Then pull up a chair and we'll throw you a teacup, because we're all mad here.
We sure as heck are, and this time we're doing it with company. I know this is the moment you've all been waiting for, or rather, I have been very excited about it. We have our the tree of our terrible trio here with us.
Hello, hello. My name is Ulf. I am also known as the Furious Redneck, and I'm here to help them out.
Yes, the liberty must flow. I'm so excited to finally have you here with us because like when we first got started, I was very excited, but like, and I've always loved doing this shit and everything. But man, when you said you were gonna come help us out, I got super fucking excited. I was like, wow, it's like three fucking musketeers and shit.
Well, I'm glad that I could make you excited. So, what am I doing here? I was kind of dragged with a sack over my head.
It's okay. We're not turning you into the NSA or anything like that. We just needed to get you away from all of your adoring fans.
Yeah,
What the
adoring
fuck are you
fans.
doing, Mike?
I'm loading a bowl. What's your
God
problem?
damn. You're just. It looks like you were fucking reaching for your fucking guns and you forgot where you placed them. I was very confused.
Look, don't forget where the guns are. That's bad practice. We brought
Uh,
you here so that we could introduce you to everybody else and let people kind of get to know a little bit more about the people of Liberty.
Okay, I can do that.
So,
Shoot away.
on our first, we like to get it like we like to start out with like a little bit personal stuff, not necessarily like deep or anything, but would you like
so
to
you deep.
tell? We've already told people like how we met you a little bit, just a bit, but like, would you mind telling everybody in the community and out there watching, like, who are you?
Well, I am Ulf. I'm once again, I'm also known as the Furious Redneck. I am a political activist that focuses primarily on representing the people who all too often are swept under the rug by corporations. Blue collar workers, men and women who perform jobs that are taken for granted, public works, firefighting, farming, etc. I primarily focus on companies like DuPont, chemical companies, anything that way, oil refineries, anyone who actually legitimately uses the processes of their company to cause health issues, problems, and, in other words, environmental disasters based on their business and business practices.
Yeah, and he gets really passionate about that shit too. Like, in a good way. I really like that. It was nice to know that you were interested in some of the same kinds of things as me because like that night when you were like, hey, are you watching, did you see this? And I'm like, I'm watching it right now. And
Um, and I know what issue you're talking about. You're
yeah,
talking about the explosion that happened in Philadelphia. They were trying to say that there were no chemicals being released into the air, while downtown Philadelphia were reporting black clouds all throughout the area down there, and I was not happy. I don't like when people lie to me, especially when it
yeah.
comes to stuff like that. It's not okay.
Well, if we're gonna be active consumers, we need to be educated consumers.
Absolutely. And we need to be critical of the companies that are trying to say something is okay. Okay, well, where's the studies to prove that that's okay? Where are the actual tests that you perform? What is going on? Why are you telling me I can't drink my water, but it's perfectly okay to bathe
But
in?
it's okay, it's
Yeah,
fine.
See, two of
exactly.
the biggest issues with that we comment we don't agree on many of the things as far as like regulations and who the number one enemy is and etc and so forth. And one of the things, yeah, at the end of the day, we both know what the primary issue is, which is corruption. It doesn't matter who the necessary, like if it's the government or corporations, what have you, but it's usually always corruption that's causing the issues. That being said, we don't know when you do come up with a business that is causing pollution or like particularly, let's use the river example that I like to use. If a company is polluting a river, and you ask the usually what a lot of people like to do is say, well, we need to put a regulation on that. Well, what ends up happening is the government will place a regulation on said concern, but that business, being as wealthy and powerful as it is, will end up funneling money to that organization that's supposed to be regulating them and allows these type of things to pass. We've seen that time and time again with the EPA, for example. It's happening with the FDA, the Drug Administration as well, or the what do you call it? The public version of it, not the government-based version of it. Can't remember what it's called. Anyway, so what is a way that we can, if we can't trust the government and we can't trust the corporations, how can we go about tackling these type of issues? Or do you think that we can trust the government?
I believe that the government at times is aligned with some aspects of the corporations. Look at the issue with DuPont, with their issues. I believe it was in the 80s, sometimes around the 70s, 80s, even going way back into the 50s, where there were connections with DuPont and the EPA and all of these different things that was actually uncovered by what used to be a lawyer that protected companies like that. And his name was Billet. Now, DuPont is still settling those cases that happen in West Virginia. And now they reopened a whole other can of worms with Gen X and this North Carolina issue with Cape Fear. So it's the fact that these things keep repeating themselves without any sort of repercussions towards the companies. And these are people who can't farm on their land anymore. These are people who can't drink from their own wells at this point in time because these companies are releasing these chemicals into the water.
Yeah.
These companies are releasing these chemicals into the soil that's around them. It's absolutely unfair to the people who live in that area, who put their trust in the company that said that this wouldn't happen again.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is we typically ally where we can agree that those type of things are bad. Mike and I both being pretty pro-capitalist, we often call out crony capitalism. That is where a company is doing unethical things just to make an additional dollar. That's not the point. You're supposed to be. Carnegie is the one that we typically love to point to because he was an ethical businessman. I keep fucking forgetting the quote. I fucking spent like a month trying to memorize this fucking thing. I can never memorize it word for word. But basically, he stated that it's a tragedy for a millionaire to die with the majority of his money in his pockets, rather than giving it out and donating and building libraries and all these things. So we agree in that aspect. The problem usually arises in, so using that as an example, the main problem why I would suggest that this is happening over and over again is that people are putting too much trust in a federal government. They think that they can send their concern to the federal government and the federal government should take care of it.
Make sure this stuff won't happen.
And
then they don't watch.
The primary issue with this thing as well is how far deep is the federal government how far deep are they in cahoots?
Personally, I think it's pretty damn deep, especially after looking into the stuff that you and I were talking about earlier. Like, there are Republicans and Democrats that push to get these things. So they even do freaking shadow ad campaigns against groups and stuff and funded those for the fucking companies to get their shit in. It's bullshit. That's deep. I mean, they go deep. And their pockets are lined with the same fucking fabric.
And the thing is, there are always corporations that will do good. There are a variety of different corporations that will actually work towards, bettering their world. And I am totally cool with that. Like, if you're going to
Oh yeah,
use that corporate power to do good, great. I will buy your products. I will
hell
support.
yeah. I'll
But
harass other people to buy your products, honestly. I'll be like, don't put that down, put down that Google and pick up this Ecosia.
But it's also an issue of education as well. We need to be educated in what we're consuming, and a lot of people just look at the shelf, grab, throw it in their cart, and be on their way. And while yes, that's the more convenient option, the very same people will suddenly complain about things that are going wrong in their society
Yeah, but
without
they've
doing
been funding it.
absolutely anything. Yeah, exactly. And my primary belief in that system is we need to be more educated on what we do on all fronts, and that includes politics, that includes the things that we consume, that includes firearm safety, that includes
Yeah,
the Constitution. So many people use the Constitution as a crutch and as a pedestal
but they've
rather
never read
than
it.
exactly, rather than actually studying the words that are in that Constitution and educating themselves on what those actually mean.
Speaking of which, we're doing the Constitution in our book club, and we're going to
We
be
are,
gathering to talk about that on Sunday.
and I am extremely excited about that.
Me
the
too.
thing about it is it goes down to a societal core, and this is what I've been screeching about for the past couple of years to people, is when you can't have all things equally. You can't have that feeling of security and also actually be secure all at the same time. There's two different ways of doing it. That's like the airport security, for example. It makes it look like it's secure. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is secure. We have traded convenience and ease for our liberties. We've made it to where we don't have to know how the animals are being processed. We've made it so we can just walk into one store and be able to get all the things all at once. And it's made it to where it's just easy mode for everybody. But and
Yeah,
because of that, we've lost critical thinking. We've lost the will to do much more than just go through the 9 to 5, come home, make dinner, go to bed, restart the day,
yeah.
or watch Kim Kardashian in between all of that. That's one of the biggest reasons why I think we need to go back into a local level, because it kind of forces those things to happen. I think that's where we've gone wrong as a complete society, is we've focused way too much on the federal things, and as I've been talking
And
about
we
for a while
ignore
now.
what's going on in our own yards. We don't know
See,
our neighbors. We don't know how many fucking churches are in our neighborhood. We don't fucking know anything. We don't know where the nearest school is. We don't know what the evacuation plans for our city are.
Let me walk you through the scenario there where these people are polluting the river. Okay, let's take it up to the federal government, who's supposed to be handling this because they have the EPA. We take it to the federal government. Well, they have 1,000 other fucking cases they have to deal with, all of which are going to be of different importances, and then that's going to have to go through a rigorous judicial system that's going to take time. And then, even then, there could still be legislation that needs to be passed, which is going to take more time. It's like you were saying that they're still dealing with some of those Virginia cases.
they are.
If you have something focused on a local level, shit gets done. When
And
something
that's
happens in Oklahoma, like a tornado, people fucking are out there the next day to fix the shit.
And that's one of the main things as well. Too many people are more than willing. It was like there was a Bo of the Fifth Column video where he was talking about what he does for his communities after a natural disaster, and he had a video that mentioned the two very different ideologies on two very different areas of the community. Now, there was the thick urban area where he even stated it's not the kind of place that you want to ride with, your windows down and your doors unlocked. But
Yeah.
those were the people who had all of the everything that everyone needed in the city. You needed diapers, okay. They told you that they needed diapers. They knew what everyone needed, and they took care of everyone. And then he went into the suburbs area, and Bo was delivering food to another house, and their neighbor came out with a firearm. It was like, I'll shoot if you loot.
Good
Like,
shit.
so
Good
many,
shit. That's what we need to do for each other.
and so many people don't realize that this place where like all of these quote unquote gangbangers were and everything that way, they gave a fuck more about the people around them than the person in the suburbia who was threatening a dude who was feeding his neighbor.
Yeah.
And it should be more like the people in the urban setting rather than the bullshit that was going on in the suburb
Well, I
area.
mean, it's kind of nice that they were willing to be like, hey, if you're looting my neighbor, I'm gonna shoot you, though.
Well, no. It even went further regarding that.
Oh, did it?
Everyone, like, the people in the urban area were like, oh yeah, a bunch of trees fell down. We just hacked away with our axes. We don't give a fuck. With the people in the suburban area, there was a tree laying right in the middle of the road.
They just stayed there. They waited,
And
didn't they?
Bo, began to hack it, and then another neighbor came out to help him, and he was like, well, they told us not to come out. The police officers told us not to come
Not
out
to
because,
come out.
everything that way. And it's just like,
Yeah.
and Bo even told him at that point in time, there's a tree down in your neighborhood. Get rid of the tree. They aren't coming out for the next 4 days.
Yeah.
They aren't focused on this area. Take care of yourself. And that, I think, is a really good message. We need to start actually giving a damn about our neighbors, regardless of their political affiliations, regardless of how they think, regardless of who they are, regardless of whether they're gay, straight, trans, or whatever. When shit hits the fan, you got to be there for each other because the government's not going to
Not
be
going to be.
That's
Yeah.
the key, though. I think we could knock down most of that if we just break the reliance to the government.
Yeah.
It's because of that reliance that we've allowed ourselves the luxury of being able to say, well, they're a gay man, so I'm not going to go help them. This is a black person, so I'm not going to go help them. Because we
I don't have
believe
to help
that
homeless people because I freaking pay taxes.
And that's
because the
another thing
government
that
is gonna
pisses me
come.
off too. The laws against, feeding, clothing, giving the homeless
Oh,
like
don't even
blankets.
give us
Yeah,
started.
don't get us
Don't even.
started because I genuinely believe they are trying to keep us from being able to help each other. Like, I think they're trying to literally stop us in all ways. It
They
feels like
want
they're
us to
trying
be reliant.
And
yeah, they need us to be because it gives them all the power they have.
I've told my partner before that if a law tells me not to feed someone who's hungry, fuck that law.
Fuck that law. I'm gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
Watch
I'll
me
take
go
the
get
fine, fuck
arrested
that
with
law.
this fucking roast. What
Like,
are you in for, Meatloaf?
But it's the same thing with gun legislation. People don't realize there's many people that will bitch about those homeless feeding laws, but then they'll be okay with gun confiscation. It's literally the same fucking thing, just with a different side of the conversation. If they take guns away and you are no longer able to defend yourself with a firearm, what do you do? Who do you rely on for defense? Who do you rely on security?
the
You rely-
primary. Oh, go ahead. My
No,
apologies.
no,
I
no, no. I was
interrupted
just
you.
going to say that you're going to rely on the state, you're going to rely on the police, you're going to rely on the government. Those are the people that you're going to trust in protecting you, rather than yourself, rather than your neighbors.
And the primary argument that I get, because while I do have some very left-wing views, the one place where people draw the line in the sand with me is my stance on gun laws. And I tell people constantly, especially like, people like myself, like part of the LGBT community, when they tell me, well, why are you such a fan of guns? It's because I'm not going to be caught with my pants down when someone wants to kill me for who I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to go down without a fight. If you think that I'm going to disarm myself because you're afraid of like a bunch of people who have no real idea of what they're doing with one, if you really want me to give them the opportunity of lording over me, no thank you. I will defend myself. I'm not afraid to defend myself. I will defend my family and I will defend the people that I hold dear. And if that means that I need to do it with a firearm, then so be it. I will do it. But that doesn't make me someone who wants to kill someone either.
Yeah.
That's
Most of us get defensive arms and shit like that, and we hope we never have to use them.
And I also want to bring up the problem with the gun, like, the pro-gun community as well. These people talk about how, like, oh, they're a man with a gun or everything that way, or they base their entire persona about this operator kind of attitude, but then when shit hits the fan, they're the first ones to piss themselves and run the opposite direction.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's one of the things that oh man, I have my girlfriend has a video recording of me losing my shit in a Walmart parking lot because I fucking saw a fucking car with a thin blue line,
And
blue
the
American
Gadsden flag.
Oh my
no,
god.
and a come and take 'em sticker.
Oh Jesus.
And I was just like,
Oh.
what?
Stop.
What?
See,
How?
that's another aspect that really irritates me as well.
Red Panda.
People who post the thin blue line next to the Gadsden flag or anything that way, or next to even the Punisher logo. The Punisher was very anti-establishment and
yeah.
anti-police for
Yeah.
one. Don't you dare put his meaning and put his entire existence alongside a thin blue line sticker. Fuck you. You're dumb. Not only that, don't put the Gadsden flag next to the goddamn fucking thin blue line sticker, because guess who are the fuckers are gonna take your
That are
guns,
gonna come
asshole?
take them from you, asshole. I mean, I guess unless you're in Virginia,
And-
God bless those motherfuckers, right?
And no, I'm not advocating for violence against police. I'm advocating for a smart, logical thinking on the aspect of what you're trying to portray. Yes, I understand. Not all cops are bad. Yes, I understand there are some really, really good people who really want to do good with the uniform that they wear.
But
I
the system
understand
is
that.
broken.
However, there are a vast majority who have put themselves into this thin blue line mentality and started a brotherhood that may as well be a terrorist organization in a place that is supposed to protect and
Well, I don't
serve,
think they should
not
be able to
lord
wear
over and
those-
conquer.
Those
They shouldn't.
patches.
They
It's-
shouldn't.
It's very telling that we went from serve and protect as their motto to being law enforcement. That's what we
Yeah.
call them now. These are servants for the community, is what we used to refer to them as, and it's completely gone away from that. We're giving them heavier equipment. We're giving
Yep.
them more body armor. We're giving
They
them.
look more and more like the military every day.
They do. They look like a fucking light unit for the military. It's just fucking crazy. And see, the thing that I had to explain to a lot of people all the time, I know you don't give a shit that much about taxes, but the whole thing is that you get a sales tax whenever you purchase something. There could be a state sales tax on top of that. You're getting charged for the tariff, which is a tax on imported goods.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have an income tax, which has already been taken out of your paycheck. And then on top of that, you have the potential, if you get fucking pulled over by a police officer for going 5 miles per hour and having to pay a ticket, that is yet another tax on top of all of it. It's too much coming out of my fucking paycheck to pay for shit that I don't believe in. When the majority of your income is going to Social Security and the fucking military, fuck off with it. Fuck off with it. Social Security is not going to benefit me. It's not going to benefit my children. Social Security isn't benefiting us fucking right now. It's not fucking helping anyone, honestly. It's not enough money to live on. And fuck all with the military's fucking industrial complex, where we're going in and invading every other fucking country that we can find, as long as they're brown at least. But it just amazes me that people will feel so passionately about a particular issue, like guns, like weed, and not do any of the research for it. Not read one fucking book, not read one fucking news article besides what they get from CNN or Fox fucking News.
Not only that, but you made a really good point that people don't really do research and they just go by what their political talking heads are saying, and that's an issue that we need to, bring up. It's like critical thinking should not be scary. You should not be treating the political parties like a football team, and it's become to the point that the narratives that are being placed by the media at this current time have made it out to be like some Super Bowl, and it's not. We should be able to at least look across party lines, not be so divided, and at least use critical thinking to better ourselves as a society and as a nation. We call ourselves the greatest nation on earth, when really we're just a bunch of bickering 50s housewives at this point.
Well, when they did the vote for like when they tried to see if the president was going to be impeached and shit. Like I was watching, I have multiple screens here spread out, and it was covered in different fucking coverage of different things going on, including the Trump rally and the vote and everything, right? And you could see the information pass from one to the other, and it was very interesting to watch like that. But I watched news reports, the press conference pop up and everything like that, and you saw Democrats going, like our side this and our side that, and then you look over at Trump, and a moment later he's going, our side didn't turn. No one on our side turned on us, and they're actually like the politicians themselves are starting to perpetuate this
Exactly.
us
And
or
that's
them mentality.
and at that point in time, once that kind of bullcrap starts coming from our politicians, we should be very afraid.
Yeah.
Very,
Why are
very
they trying?
afraid.
Why are they trying to push the? Why are they trying to push this
Why do
narrative?
they want us
Why are
to fight each other?
Why are they trying to break up the American people and divide them?
Yeah. To
What is
divide
the
and
end goal
conquer
for
the
that?
American people, maybe.
Because a couple of years ago, it was very, very different as far as the political scheme goes. Like a Republican could vote for a Democrat and it wouldn't be unheard of. That
Yeah,
that
no one would
happened actually
freak
very
out.
common, because it was closer to the middle for one. They weren't on extreme fringes on both sides, so it was more wiggle room.
Yeah. The moderate divide was much smaller. Now it's like huge.
But that's a whole nother thing. Is on the Democrat side, you have a very local, very vocal left that makes it seem like there's a bunch more people agreeing with very extreme ideology, and the same thing on the right. You're having a very small group that's very vocal, and so people assume that's what the two sides believe in, really. And then you have, again, the silent majority that's in the fucking middle between all of this that usually agrees somewhere in the middle on all these issues. And it's just crazy how much they've weaponized these extremes and have worked them into a fervor and a weapon. We actually have uh, an actual national socialist that's in our Discord server, and we get to talk to him about these type of things. And
Oh, yeah.
he accredits the left more than the right for the sudden surge in his organization, because they make themselves seem so fucking crazy that it pushes people out of the party because they're eating each other, and it opens doors. Whenever you're calling everybody a Nazi, the term Nazi loses its power and ability.
Well,
So
not
when
only has it lost its power and ability, but it also becomes like almost like a martyrdom battle
Mhm.
cry. Like it
Yeah,
draws people together. You
it's
were called
funny
a
to
Nazi
them.
too? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like when you're referring to someone like Jordan Peterson as a Nazi, that's a gateway essentially, potentially a gateway at least. That you're teaching them about these various ideals, and then that's associated with YouTube's algorithm
Algorithm.
that is getting them further and further down the rabbit hole. The
Yeah.
biggest thing, like I don't understand where the extreme left came from though, or like I get the extreme right. The extreme right's been there for a long time, but all of a sudden we have this
Yeah, we
huge
can't get
surge
rid
in
of
extreme
that.
left.
Trying.
I don't see why. I don't see how. I don't like some of the shit that they talk about is absolute insanity. Like even
Tumblr
as
is a
someone
hell
that's
of a drug.
What is?
yeah,
Tumblr is a hell of a drug.
Oh,
that is
Jesus
fair.
Christ. Yeah, okay. No, I mean, I buy it. Social media has definitely had a major hand in it. We've gotten a little bit far in here. We kind of like went off from the interview, though. And I think that like we've been talking a lot about a bunch of different things and giving kind of a broad idea of what you believe in things. But if you were to say what your political ideations or beliefs would be, like if you were able to like condense them down into a short thing that doesn't take 5 years, what would that be?
I don't think my political beliefs are really necessarily definable. However, I do live by the saying, when you recognize evil, speak out against it and give your enemy no peace. And that means any sort of evil. Like if I see a person from the far left calling someone a Nazi for saying something along the lines of a rational thought regarding, let's say, being transgender. It's like, yeah, okay, you need to, you need to have been the first gender before you transform into the second aspect of that. When you go through your transition, you're becoming from a woman to a man or a man to a woman. It's not that past life of yours, no matter how painful it is, that doesn't not exist just because you want to will it. And I know that sucks. It
Just
does.
got demonetized.
Yep.
It's okay.
Oh well.
We've
Too bad.
always been demonetized.
I'm transgender myself. If they're going to demonetize a transgender person for speaking about transitive
You're a
gender
side
issues,
trader.
they can
I
shit
think we
on
said
themselves.
terrorism earlier, and if we haven't, we have now. So
But
Yeah, but we weren't using it in reference to brown people.
it doesn't
So
matter. You're not allowed to say terrorist anymore.
the problem is that I have it should go both ways. You should be able to call out a horrendous statement regardless of what side it's coming from. Like, I'm a Democrat, I'll still tell a Democrat, yo, you're being an asshole. Just like I'll tell a Republican, yo, you're being a bit of an asshole. If you
Now, when you say you're a Democrat,
I primarily vote Democrat. However, I am also very critical of quite a few of the things that the Democrats are trying to push. I mean, my voting card says Democrat. I have been looking to change that to independent. The only reason why I don't have it as independent is because I can't vote in the primaries.
yeah,
And
I
I
the same
noticed
reason
that
here.
we're not allowed to vote in the primaries.
Yeah.
Neither of us are.
And I don't
System's not
think
rigged.
Get your
that's
vote
fair.
first. I'm like, get your vote first and get out. Run.
And I don't think that's fair. That's
No,
why I
it's not.
primarily label myself as one side, so I can at least vote in one primary to make
Well-
some semblance of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're like, can anybody vote for the Libertarian primary, or do you have to be a member of the Libertarians to do it?
I
I'm
think
pretty
you
sure anyone can vote for it. It's just not the other way around because it's
Yeah.
considered a third party. I could be wrong, and I know it varies from state to state, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works here. That someone in the LP can vote Democrat or Republican, but I don't believe a Democrat can vote Republican, and I don't think a Republican can vote Democrat
In the primaries?
in the primaries.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's
No.
weird. Well, I mean, whatever. Let them pick their own, I guess. It's just still weird. Because, like, the third party people, we don't usually get, like, they basically black out all media coverage of third party people, except for, like, Berman Supreme. And, I mean, no offense to you, Berman. It's just, you're not the vision of all of us, you know?
Hey man,
No,
don't you
he-
judge Vermin Supreme.
No,
he has
I'm
a
not.
magnificent
I'm not.
beard.
It's just they should be showing more of us than just Vermin and Ron Paul.
he's there to make a statement more than anything, though. It's just like Dan's big hat. It's
Yeah, I
there to
don't
make a
hate
statement.
on the Supreme. I do not hate on him. Don't take
So
it.
what are some of your biggest points that you like to focus on as far as like politics and things like that go?
Corruption. I hate corruption.
Okay.
I despise it, whether it's on the left or on the right. I think it is damaging not only to the American people as a whole, but to the United States as a world figure. If we continue to allow corruption to sow its seeds into our democracy, bear with me one second.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh. I hear the cat just wow. Poor kitty. He has a
It's okay,
sick
kitty.
kitty, y'all.
As I came back with cat in hand, primarily my focus is on corruption. I don't like it. I feel that it damages the United States, it damages the people, and above all, it damages trust. And the primary thing that we like, regardless of whether it's the low level or at the highest level of government, corruption as a whole needs to be routed out and it needs to be cut out of the society. Straight
So,
up.
historically speaking, corruption's always been there, and it's always been indicative of an empire that's collapsing. The peak of every empire that's ever existed, you have this indulgent period where the top people are just massively drawing in resources. They're not doing their duties. They're just saying fuck all to everything, and they're just absorbing as much as they can until it kind of just breaks the system, because there's just not enough resources going to the vast majority of people, which is kind of where we're getting towards, at least I think. So the question is, if this has happened historically forever, as far as we know throughout recorded history, how do we stop something? How do you limit corruption? Because there's periods of time in American history where corruption's been fairly low, especially the first 100 to 200 years.
I think with the birth of this country, it was enlightenment. People actually had the freedom to learn. People had the freedom to make a business. People had the freedom to do things and create what was the first fledgling idea of the American dream. You would be able to own land. You would be able to farm your own crops. You would be able to start your own business. You'd be able to feed your community. You would be able to provide a service to your community without having the virulent, what is the word? It was
Dicks.
Yes. No.
Wow.
It's more like the walls that we have on creating a business now.
Red tape.
It's the red tape. Now it's so difficult to create your own small business, especially while competing with very large companies like Walmart, Kmart, Target. Any of that way, it robs smaller businesses from being able to provide a service in that regard. At least that is the way that I look at it. I may be wrong, and that's perfectly fine, but that's my idea on how it works that way.
See, I agree with most of that, especially on the red tape side of it, but I don't agree with the competitive side of it. I think if a Walmart exists and a business wants to get in the same business as Walmart, which is everything, then they need to focus on the things that Walmart doesn't provide. What does Walmart not provide? It's pretty infamous for providing not great customer service. Like you don't get a personal experience whenever you go into Walmart. You likely will never see one of the employees, especially now with the checkout services. So that's what I was always taught as, being someone in business, is if you are going up against something like that, you provide what your competitor cannot, or you do what they are currently doing better than them, and you can't do that. So Walmart is crushing it as far as producing goods and selling the goods at a lowest possible value for the most part. So the only logical thing that you can do is provide either a faster service, which Amazon has kind of taken over, and a higher quality process. So I don't think it's, especially now in like the hipster age, I think it's the prime time to open up like a general store type of thing, like Sprouts, Whole Foods, things like that. Those things are kind of going through the roof at the moment. I think Whole Foods was just purchased by Amazon not long ago to compete against Walmart, because they know they can outcompete them in the long run, because they're doing the faster service, and they're doing the better pricing already. So all they have to do is everything else that Walmart does. So I think in the end, as long as there's some kind of competition and people realize that type of stuff, we're always going to be in the win there, because that only gives us better products. Like, can you imagine, like, Walmart's already pretty great in the general sense. I don't like Walmart, but as far as like a non-opinionated side of it, just statistical side of it, Walmart's pretty good as far as a company goes. Amazon's pretty good as far as a company goes. If you take both of those things and combine them together, God knows what the fuck grocery stores are going to be like in the next couple of years. I mean, it's going to be insane. The luxury that we have currently of getting goods and services is insane, and it's only going to get better. The amount of things that you can get for the amount of money that you're getting is just absolutely insane. It's revolutionary in what we're getting. The whole idea of, going back to the original point first, like I don't see it unrealistic for someone to want to start like a mom and pop style store and setting that up and just focusing on customer service and providing a superior product. I think that's totally viable. In fact, that's kind of a thriving thing at the moment. You have places like Boulder, Colorado, that I've been through many times, and they kind of avoid big company names like that. They only do the smaller companies, besides Starbucks and Whole Foods. They really like both of those places. But everywhere else is usually a local type of business, and they do good because of it, because they know that they have, if the item is going to be more expensive, you have to sell that item. You have to sell the service and yeah, you have to sell the service and the product through superior customer service. So I think that's why we need the freest markets possible, because I think 99% of the problems will be fixed through competition. You know, if
Probably
Walmart,
not.
if you have a corporation that is being dicks to people and people don't like it, like Blizzard, for example, I guarantee you people are going to start jumping ship and going over to other things, which is
Like,
happening.
whole activism groups and communities have formed just in the freaking name of that shit, you know?
Yeah.
And
What ends up happening, though, with government regulations, whenever you start putting this red tape to stop the bigger businesses, there's nothing to distinct what is a bigger business, really. They have no ways of determining that, because you can be, because are we going off profit, or are we going in how much money that they're actually bringing in? Because all of that stuff is very difficult to actually track, first of all. Are we talking about employees? What exactly are we talking there? And so what ends up happening is they just say all business, commercial things, this is how it operates. And what ends up happening is you fuck up smaller businesses. The minimum wage thing, for example, is one of the biggest fuck ups in history. I think it is absolute fucking retarded to do a $15 minimum wage. Like, do you really want to create a monopoly? Because that's how you create monopolies. Who the fuck do you think can afford to pay all of their employees $15 an hour? Do you think the mom and pop
the big
store
ones.
trying to start up their company is going to be able to afford as many employees as they need? Or do you think Walmart's going to be able to do that? But Walmart said, fuck all of you guys. Yeah, we raised our minimum wage, but instead what we're going to do is make it all as automated as possible. But that's what we're asking for. That's what happens whenever you deal with things like that. So we need to pull away from Walmart. First of all, we need to educate the populaces to stop going to Walmart, because that's how they treat people. And we don't want to support that kind of behavior. The thing with corporations is they like money. We all know they like money. So they don't
Oh
care.
god, I'm in Arkansas. They're gonna kill me.
They don't care about the ethics behind it. They care about money. So it's our responsibility as consumers to reward certain behaviors. That's how we have to treat it. If they're fucking doing blood diamonds over here, maybe don't fucking buy from
Don't
them.
buy them.
If you keep buying the blood
We gotta-
diamonds, they're going to keep fucking selling the blood diamonds, because they
So,
don't
like,
care.
And I mean, like, we have to keep doing things to raise awareness, because people aren't doing it themselves at this point. But I feel like maybe if we point out enough shit, people, like, as we point shit out and as other people point things out, more and more people look up and start to question. It's not a failing game. I mean, that's kind of why we're all come together to try and do some activism here and shit like that, you know? Are you, so, like, speaking of which, like, are you, you are an activist, right? Like, you like to get involved and go out there and do shit.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that? I mean, what can you tell us about that? I don't want you to, like, dox yourself or anything, obviously.
Well, I don't mind that. I very often go out, especially in regards to marching against white supremacist rallies. I am very active in going up against corporations, particularly places like DuPont, like the refinery that was in Philadelphia. I went to many demonstrations there regarding that to show support towards the community members that were affected by that, especially considering that they have been fighting for years to get rid of that refinery because of what it was doing to the area around them. I primarily show my support for small businesses, local farmers. I try and buy all of my goods with a logo that states that it was locally received here, and I make sure that I do my research too to just make sure that that's not a lie as well. That's just put on the packaging.
Yeah.
I'm very critical of what politicians and corporations and people within a position of power tell me. And that's not to be paranoid, it's more of to be protective of myself, my loved ones, my friends, and my family. Because quite frankly, I am part of the LGBT community. I do not want to be put in danger without knowing what the danger is, so I can plan accordingly and plan ahead to make sure that me, my friends, and my family get out alive.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Well, speaking of your activism in the past, you decided to come and get involved with us here, and so like inquiring minds want to know like what are you gonna be doing here? Are you interested in any of the teams we've got set up? Are you thinking about trying to like do something yourself? Are you mostly here to like try and help us get out the education and stuff like that? What can people expect to see from you in the future? Because you're not going anywhere. Well, I hope not.
I,
Can't go
no,
anywhere. We
by
drug
the
him in
way,
here with a bag over his head.
I scheduled myself to die tomorrow. Sorry about that.
Oh, for
YOLO.
that is very inconvenient. You better effing not.
No, I primarily want to, my primary goal is to try and educate people from both sides of the parties that you can agree with things that the other party says while still remaining in your party. I want to make sure that people understand that there are people like me who are there who, yes, I do believe LGBT people should be able to serve in the military. I do believe that they should be able to have the same rights as everyone else. But I also believe that I should be able to own a firearm to defend myself as a person who is in the LGBT community from violence that, while it's not as prevalent as people like to say it is, it's still a very, very poignant thing that needs to be taken care of. And
Oh yeah.
I personally am not the kind of person that wants to be a victim regarding that.
It doesn't happen often, but that one day that it does happen, you don't want to be unprepared.
Exactly.
And like, I think it's a great thing that we had so many different kinds of people out at like the Virginia March together. That was
Yeah.
very inspiring to me. Is that one of the things that it convinced you to come work with us? Actually, was that we don't like the party play, that we want to come together and work together for better things.
Yep, exactly. I'm not the kind of person that likes to throw myself to one side. I'd rather be critical of everything and be educated in what I state. And I know a few things that I have come purely from emotion, but I also know full well that with certain rights you are required to have a certain set of responsibilities as well. As a firearm owner myself,
With
I
great
hold the response.
power.
Well, as a firearm owner, I have the responsibility to make sure that I am well learned in the firearms that I own, that I know the proper safety procedures, that I know how to maintain and operate those firearms. That is something that is required of me as a firearm owner. That is something that I need to take seriously because a firearm is a tool that is very, 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 very efficient in killing. And that is a kind of thing that I look at and I apply that responsibility to many things that I do in my life, whether it is my activism. If I'm going to if I'm going to a demonstration, I'm going to make sure that I have first aid equipment there. I'm going to make sure that I have crowd control diffusers there, meaning that if I need to carry a gallon of milk in my backpack, I'm carrying a gallon of milk, because fuck tear gas. I'm going to make sure that I have the ability to help people around me as well, as because I am going to those demonstrations, I need to make sure that I'm looking out for the person next to me. I'm looking out for the person behind me. I also need to be aware in those situations of Are there any dissenters in the crowd? Are there any people who are trying to escalate the situation? Are there plants there? What's going on with the opposite party? What's going on with the counter protesters? You have to be aware. And that is primarily the thing that I noticed that people are lacking. Awareness.
Maybe we could do an episode about that. That would
We
be
could.
cool. That would
I'd be more than
awesome.
happy to do that.
Sweet. Well, that's the next episode. Maybe we'll do. That would be cool.
But my primary goal is to hopefully educate people, to help people, to bring facts to the table rather than just blatant opinions. I mean, yes, I do have my opinions, but I'd rather base them on facts and base them on a root foundation that is strong rather than saying, well, all Christians are bad because Christians are bad. And I met a Christian on the side of the road, and they told me I was going to hell, so therefore they're all bad. No, that's
Yeah.
See, exposed hates Christians.
We like to use
Yeah.
labels to dehumanize each other, and I don't think we realize that that's what we're doing. But
Yep.
it's still fucking heinous. You know, it hurts my heart to see people do this shit all the damn time. I'm always like languishing about it.
But it's hard to talk like philosophy and theology and politics without doing generalizations because you kind of
It
have
is.
to. You can't talk about worldwide politics and not use generalizations because you don't know all the individuals. You have to go with what you have experienced personally and what the majority might be and what the numbers say. Even
Yeah,
though
but we
there's
have to
outliers.
be more aware of what they are. Because, like, generalizations, I think they were originally created for a descriptive purpose, not to actually, like, kind of, like, remove
Paint
people's-
everyone with a broad brush.
Yeah, like, I'm talking more like when you're dealing with individuals, people will paint them as a person just by knowing certain aspects of them and stuff, and it takes away their identity from them.
Exactly, and that's one of the issues that we have as well with both of the parties. Everyone is like each other, and it's just like I had a Republican tell me, "Oh, well, you're not like the other soy Democrats," and was like, "Because I literally am not."
Yeah, it sucks that it's like that, and I'm kind of like, well, do you think all of them are like the same or what too? Because like it's nice sometimes that like you get to be called quote the cool trans or the cool gay or whatever the fuck base.
Super based.
This is Mike, he's trans, but don't worry, he's based or whatever, you know. Like it sucks that it gets tiring because I'm like, what are you just you're doing it too. Like y'all are all painting each other with these fucking broad ass strokes. You have to have an individual walk into your face to show you that you're doing it.
Right.
I mean, those of us who do not fit the mold, I believe that we should use it to fucking break it.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why I try and put myself out there sometimes. Like if someone's talking about a trans people, like like the bathroom issue that I dealt with, it's like, oh well, I don't believe trans people should go to the bathroom, or I don't believe trans people should be able to use
to the
public restrooms and everything that way. I'm sitting there going, dude, you're literally talking to a trans person right now.
In the
And he looked
bathroom.
at me, and the only thing that he said was, "But you have a beard." Well, yes, I've been taking testosterone for quite some time. I'm actually going through the transition. What do you think that I'm...
That means
And I spent an hour and a half educating this gentleman on what
well, that's kind of cool.
transgenderism and what it is and what it is not. It is not the broad strokes of what many people try to say it is regarding the propaganda that, oh, they're all, pink-haired, fairy wing wearing amalgamation.
you.
And I'm sitting here like, bro, who cares what they do? Why do you care? So what if they have pink hair? So what if they're wearing fairy rings? Are they hurting you? No? Then get the
Then
fuck
shut
out.
the fuck up. Who cares?
But of course, you also have the very same people from that community, like the LGBT community, who is virulently
Yeah, if this person does not
just,
exactly believe in what I want them to believe and do things the way I want them to do, I'm going to flip my shit.
yeah. Or it's like, well, if you don't agree with this very specific thing that is not based in anything other than
Yeah.
my personal opinion, you're scum. It's like,
Yeah, it's
and that,
nice to be in like a GRSM LGBT, a place that has several of them, where like you could say things that might be considered, I guess, hot takes by some people or whatever, and then sit there and discuss it with each other and shit. And
and
nobody freaking tries to like light anything on fire or, you know,
and it's not just the far left that's doing it. It's not, because it's the far right doing the same thing.
yeah.
They're painting people with a broad brush and then complaining when they're shut down, like
Well, I don't
they're some sort of
understand.
crazed martyrs. Like,
I don't understand why the subgroup or why the subculture, the culture, the group, whatever you want to call it, like I don't understand why LGBT people are basically cheering and marching in time with people who are using them.
yeah,
They're
like I'm not
using them and
I'm not a
turning them on
prop.
each other for blood sports and clicks.
I'm not a prop. I won't be a prop.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Me too. Well, do we have any more questions? I didn't skip any, did I?
We missed the lightning round.
Well, we haven't. We do the lightning round at the end. That's why I was asking. Do you have any more questions, Paxton?
Mm,
I think he's playing a game.
I don't know.
You better not be playing a video game in the middle of the episode. I'll be mad.
I
No, I'm
watched him
actually
just.
doing work.
Oh, okay.
Um, no, I don't think so.
Well, we gotta do
I already
lightning
know a
round
lot thing about
questions.
Ulf, so
Do you want to help me throw some of the rando lightning round questions at him?
tell
We'll
us
take
about your
turns.
favorite D&D character.
My favorite D&D character was a half orc that had a giant bear as a pet, and his name was Warg. And
Wrong answer, it's Elstein.
he had a 4 in intelligence, and he was just literally all put in strength.
Oh God.
And he was very fun to play because he was dumb as a brick, but he got through
Sometimes
everything.
it's really fun to do that.
He also married the final boss was an elder dragon, and he
Of
walked
course.
up to her and was like, "You very pretty." And the elder dragon, and I rolled a 20 for charisma.
Oh my God.
And I married the elder dragon.
You weren't even the bard, were you?
My dungeon master was very, very irate.
I love pissing off DMs by having sex with the bad guys. Or getting them to join your party. That's even better because then the DM has to play that character forever too.
Yep.
Oh, I love that shit. Let's just
Next lightning round question. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, sorry. Lightning round. Anyways, what's your favorite snack?
Oh no. Jerky. Venison jerky.
Venison jerky is okay.
What's your favorite color?
Black.
So
It's
emo.
racist.
When you're stressed out, what do you do to calm down?
Don't get too graphic.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. We've already had people say they masturbate, though.
I ride horses.
That's way not as dirty as masturbating. Horses are
Unless
great.
it's code.
Nope. I ride horses.
No,
Put me in a saddle and I'll ride for hours.
is that suggestive?
Nope. I am happiest on horseback. Put me in a mountain range. Get me to ride for hours. You won't get me off that horse.
What's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
My favorite movie.
And why is it Brokeback Mountain?
It's not Brokeback Mountain. Dark Waters.
Should be. It's a good movie.
Ooh, that's a
Dark
good
Waters.
one. That's a
It's
good
a
one.
very, very good political movie. And I'm very glad that they actually highlighted what DuPont did to West Virginia in that. Because fuck DuPont.
On the line of what your favorite movie is, what's your favorite current TV show right now? Or do you
I,
not watch TV?
I don't watch TV.
But that includes Hulu and Netflix and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
too.
I don't watch shows on Netflix. I usually watch documentaries that they have on.
What's the most recent TV show that you've liked?
Most recent TV show. Oh God. See, I don't watch much TV. I usually try to support YouTubers that do educational shows. Like I like actually. Okay,
Well, then recommend your favorite top 3. What are your top 3 YouTubers?
okay. Let me actually bring up my YouTube account here. Bear with me 1 second. I know one of them is Ants Canada. I really like what he does for the environment, and I really like that he took part in the I think it was like the 20 million trees fundraiser.
Oh,
I really
nice.
like that.
I'll have
I
to get
watch
you to list
I
these for us
watch
after this too, so we can put the links below.
I watch Ants Canada. I like Philip DeFranco, and I watch Bo the Fifth Column.
Bo of the Fifth Column and Philip DeFranco. You're such a cinnamon roll.
Yep.
I love Bo. Do you got any more? I feel like I'm forgetting some.
You're forgetting all of them. Favorite dessert?
Favorite dessert? Mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Favorite drink?
Mountain Dew.
Mixed drink. No. This isn't kindergarten. Mixed drink.
Mountain Dew and citrus vodka. Or
Mountain Dew and citrus vodka.
a good gin and tonic.
Okay.
Oh no! For Mountain Dew and citrus vodka, if you get the Mountain Dew Voltage and use like a blue raspberry or like a blue raspberry or a what is it? For Mountain Dew Voltage, you want to use a blue raspberry vodka, but for like anything like the regular Mountain Dew, get a lemon vodka. It tastes really really good.
You ever had a lemon drop before?
Yes.
Those are good. I like
Yeah.
liquid cocaines.
Of course you do.
So like, recommend a book.
Recommend a book.
Just one you like. It doesn't have to be
what's a
personally.
book?
I personally enjoy James Comey's latest book, A Higher Honor.
I haven't
believe-
read that.
A Higher Loyalty. I have it. I also like Fire and Fury. I also like any history books, really. I like.
What's your favorite history time period?
Ooh, that one's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Come on, talk dirty to me.
I like pre-Viking and Viking eras. I like the Civil War era. World War One. I really really like. Russian history with the Tsars, like when the Tsars were still in power. Everything that way. I like world history as a whole. I like doing research and understanding where other countries are coming from and where they began, where they came from, and what they are now, and how much they've changed. And I like comparing that and doing my own little analogies that way.
Yeah, good stuff.
Sounds good to me. Recommend one cause.
One cause. Ooh. One? Just one?
Just one. If you could recommend any cause, which one would it be?
Conserving national parks.
So, like, all of them. Just look into your local national parks.
Yep.
If you don't have local national parks, just look at the closest one.
Yep, and any historical battlefield grounds, anything that's like a historical landmark, invest in that. Donate to them. Make sure that it's upkept because that's our history.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about those penny slot Civil War Confederate memorials. I'm actually talking about actual battlefields, actual landmarks that means something to American history.
But the Civil War is racist.
We've got quite a few historical landmarks around here. I'd like to cover some of them in the future, probably. Do you have any questions for us before we go on from
I don't
this?
give them that freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
No, you can ask us if do you have anything to ask us?
What is your name?
I don't know. Earlier I had to check. I think it's Mike.
I can't do that. I can't do that voice. My
Did
boyfriend's a lot
Jeffrey
better at it.
Epstein kill himself?
Yes. No.
Oh God! For
Trick
a second
question.
there, I thought we were gonna have to toss you out. This rube thinks
Maybe.
Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. No.
No, he did not. Anyone who believes that he did is a fucking idiot.
Do you have anything else specifically about yourself that you'd like to share that we didn't touch on?
Not really.
All right then. Y'all ready to get the F out of this place?
Yeah, let's go.
I
Yeet.
think so. This Mad LiberTEA Party. Oh wait, hold on. If you guys like this, make sure to like and share and subscribe. And you know, we have links down here. You can get in our comments and stuff if you want to like call us names or say something intelligible.
I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of name calling
Um,
against me.
I don't know. Sometimes,
sure.
sometimes our BitChute gets some really weird comments from the anti-Semites. Anyways, like, get down there in our comments. We're gonna have a lot of links down there about some of the stuff we talked about. We're gonna have all social media stuff down there, so you guys can follow them and check them out because they're really cool. And obviously, they're gonna be here with us more in the future. Also, we got our Discord link there, so get in there and join the community, get into the activism, or just join the conversation. We have all sorts of shit going on here all the time. With no further ado, this Mad LiberTEA Party is adjourned. Y'all be safe out there.